Are there any other categories you have seen growth in Vietnam apart from hotels and resorts that you just mentioned?
There's more concrete being poured in Vietnam now than any point in the last 2,000 years. So every part of the real estate spectrum is increasing in supply.
I know you touched base on vacation home as one of the sector that's very new in Vietnam and growing. Can you talk a little bit about that?
I think, again, within that, you'll see different types of ownership. You'll see groups like RCI coming. You'll see all of the hotels looking at developing different brands. So you won't just see Sheraton, you won't just see Hilton, you'll see different, as you've seen with Accor, you won't just see Pullman, Ibis, Mercure. So, and within that, some of these rooms will be for sale. So we'll see fractional ownership. We'll see the units being sold. You'll see in any given mixed-use development now, whether it's in Nha Trang or in Da Nang, one or two of those towers will be hotel and service departments.
How many of such projects are under construction at the moment?
On Chan Phu in Nha Trang, there's probably 6 of these type of projects.
And they have been pre-sale?
They're under sale at the moment. Very often underpinned by a brand like Crowne Plaza, Best Western.
And how's the sales going?
Depending on the pricing and the branding, they're selling very well.
And who are the buyers of those?
Well, almost exclusively local. Maybe 5 to 8% would be foreigners. And these are people that already own 2 or 3 other properties. So yes, there's some investment part of it. Some of it there's looking to the future of maybe a retirement. We've talked before about retirement homes. Vietnam is an obvious choice because of the cheap labor, excellent, nutritious food that's easily available, that's exciting, certainly if you're Asian and European alike. But there isn't the medical infrastructure yet to serve. There's good, reasonable medical infrastructure for our own people, but not enough for people that want to retire here who have special needs.
But is that a sector that's going to be?
I think certainly there are groups that are looking very closely at the retirement home sector. Here, I'm not suggesting in any way that the government should change its tact here, but the Malaysians have brought in ideas of trying to attract people to retire in Malaysia. It's a sort of grey-haired policy, giving them special rights if they invest with cash or they invest in a business. And there may be areas where the Vietnamese government begins to look at loosening the leasehold restrictions from 50 to 75 years or in certain areas. And these could be such as Phu Quoc, they could be Cam Ranh, where certain projects are designated sort of tax-free things. I think that.
Have you seen any discussion from the government about this?
No, I think it's way too sensitive at the moment. They've moved quickly to keep multinationals and Viet Kieu happy, but I think there's a huge market, the retirement market. Not that people retire sort of quite so easily now and call themselves retire, but a senior active market.
Are you saying that if the government sort of changes the policy a little bit, there will be a lot of individual foreign buyers into Vietnam?
There's always entrepreneurs around who will say, well, sure, I mean, why not? Vietnam's a wonderful country to visit, to visit and to live in as well. And it's obviously a great place, and many, many people are here. Going back to hotels and tourism, it's a huge area which the government still is coming to terms with to market Vietnam as a real destination and make it truly sustainable and world-class. Some of our ASEAN neighbors are slightly ahead of us, but the uptick in tourist arrivals in the last 6 months has been wonderful.
So for 2011 and beyond, I can see that HR is one of the key challenges that you've seen. What are the funding HR? Any other challenges that you see?
Well, I can see that 2011 is going to be very similar to what happened in 2008, 2009. A lot of foreign investors, having thought that Vietnam was the right place to put their money and have probably got access to very cheap funds and everything's got very expensive in Singapore and in Hong Kong. They're looking for other markets, but I can see that some of them may not stick the course. So it's going to be very much a domestic developer's game. What's coming beneath that, though, is a much cheaper form of sort of first first property. So we're seeing groups like Serenity with their Fusion product coming into the market, and instead of starting at 250 to 400 to 600 to $1 million, they're starting at $80,000. So their Laggy project, just south of Pham Thiet Huy Ne, the starter price was just below $80,000. Now that begins to open the door much, much wider for a new group of Vietnamese families.
So that would be the advice from you to any individual buyers.
I think that you've got beginning to be a much wider range of products available, and I think by the end of this year there'll be many more developers in that space. But I think we'll begin to see also other developers looking not so much at the beach as looking at headlands as well. So whereas before the beachfront always got the best price, the headlands was a discount of maybe 50%. But as you get older, it's looking down on the beach, it's looking down on the activity and enjoying the breeze and the views. One big advantage Thailand has that in the evening, as it does everywhere in the world, the sun sets in the east, and much of Thailand is facing sunset, whereas much of it in Vietnam is facing the other way. So obviously we can't do much about that, but again, where the headlines are and people have a view of the setting sun, then that again is property that will be very valuable. We're beginning to see more and more projects look at island resorts. People love to go on an island.
Island resorts, so you're talking about Phu Quoc then?
No, I was thinking more of around Cam Ranh.
Cam Ranh.
And I think that again, that will become, we'll see ecotourism there, destination tourism. It's not bucket and spade, it's quite exclusive. And again, if you talk to the general manager of these hotels, like the Nam Hai and the Six Senses Everson there, it's not just selling to rich Europeans anymore. A high proportion of the people that use these hotels and enjoy them are Vietnamese.
Vietnamese. Okay, so what about the developers? Any opportunities and challenges for them?
You really need to have very, very good product on site. You need showrooms. You need to be very honest as well about what you're going to develop, who's going to manage it, what are the costs of management. Again, there's a lot of talk about what the revenue will be, but there's also what the costs were going to be. What's the sinking fund? What happens in the winter? Yes, there is a winter in Vietnam. I've caught pneumonia in Vietnam on the beach. There are issues.
Have you seen a lot of concerns from the buyers these days about the quality of the properties?
I think developers' quality right across the board has improved a great deal. We've seen a range of foreign contractors coming into the market. Some have been extremely successful. We're now seeing local developers using foreign contractors. So we're seeing, I went to a groundbreaking the other day, a CT Group project, and they're using Kum Ho. Nova Land are using Kum Ho. Bitexco has used Hyundai and Turner for their project management. And we're now seeing buildings being designed by Cesar Pelle, by Norman Foster. It's no longer foreigners using just foreign contractors. It's Vietnamese using the very best contractors. That's a huge change in order to be competitive, in order to build.
That's actually a change in mindset.
Sure. A very positive change.
Last question. What would be your advice to the potential buyers out there watching this show about selecting a good investment in terms of tourism properties for themselves?
I think that you've got to work out whether you're going to use the property, whether you're looking for yield and return on investment, or just capital appreciation. And obviously you've got to run with the project that's got the best branding, the best design, a villa versus a condo. The villa market traditionally has outperformed the condo market 4 years out of 5, out of the last 5. So villas would be my preference at the moment. I think we're also seeing a new product coming in that isn't necessarily 3, 4, 5 hours drive away or a 1.5 hour flight away. We're seeing villa projects and resort projects being developed around the city as well. And that I like the look of as well.
So if I have extra money just to invest, not just to live in whatever property in Vietnam, what would be your pick for 2011?
I very much like the idea that Serenity are doing with their smaller, bite-sized units. As I said, starting at 80,000 to 150,000. So the modules you pay, a one bedroom is 80, a two bedroom is 160. This type of progression, I like that.
Because there's a lot of demand in the market.
I think that if you get it wrong, then you've lost a little. If you get it right, you haven't. You've kept your powder dry. At some point, we're going to beat inflation. At some point, interest rates are going to drop. At some point, the dong is going to stabilize. And with all the excess money that's gone into gold, at some point it's going to come back. So in the next 18 months, we're going to see a market that turned around like it did in 2007. So at some point, we're going to see the market turn around. I'm not sure if it's going to be this year, next year. But as soon as the government beats inflation again, as it did last time, and brings interest rates down, and we fall less in love with the dollar and less in love with gold, this market's going to move very quickly. So I would be cashed up. I would be cashed up in 2011, 2012, because at some point you're going to need that cash.
Thank you very much, Mark, for sharing your insights today on the show. Thank you very much. In 2010, the Vietnam National Administration of Tourism drafted a development strategy for the 2011 to 2020 period, under which the tourism industry will strive to increase the number of foreign visitors to 8 million in 2015 and then to 12 million in 2020. As confirmed by our guest speaker today, this development strategy definitely opens up huge opportunities for any one of you here today, and obviously for the global investment community with an eye on Vietnam. If you have questions regarding the topic, please send them to phi@insidevietnam.com.vn. For past episodes and show updates, please visit us on WordPress, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. My name is Phi Nguyen, and I'm your host on Inside Vietnam. I can't wait to be with you again in 2 weeks on Tuesday at 6:20 p.m. Vietnam time on VTV4. I have great faith that our paths will cross one day when you set out to take your investment journey to Vietnam. Until then, please accept my best wishes to you, both in business and in personal life.